That's better.
That is better.
Oh, peaceful.
And silence.
What did Justin Bieber say? I saw the initial tweet.
He said the original tweet, didn't he? That was like, "Let's make this happen." I don't know why he's calling out
Why
Tom Cruise.
Why is he picking on Tom Cruise?
I don't know.
Tom Cruise is a bit weird.
Yeah,
he is weird, but
he's insane. I think
he's a legend, though.
Yeah, I love his movies.
Maybe Justin Bieber's so God Squad, isn't he? Maybe he's had a message from God to take down Scientology. Like one big name after another.
Yeah, it just seems like a random one. I don't know where them two would have ever kind of like crossed paths, but
I think Tom Cruise would crush him.
Old man strength.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
Old man strength, powered by
all of his
Xenu.
own, what are they called? Stunts as well. Yeah,
I think Tom Cruise is a bit of a psycho. I wouldn't want to step in a ring with him.
He is. It's in the eyes. You see him. There's just nothing behind there apart from
like
madness.
Yeah. His eyes just go black.
What do you see in the last Mission Impossible when he broke his foot doing that jump? Have you seen the last Mission Impossible?
No, the last one I saw was when he was like on the outside of
the plane.
No, the
took
building
off.
in Dubai.
Oh,
what's it called? It's like the Wiz Khalifa.
The Burj Khalifa.
That's it.
The Wiz Khalifa. Yeah, it was actually not too far from here. It's like, well, further down the Thames, but it's a chase, and it's a building jump, like a roof gap, and he has to grab the next bit and then pull himself up, and when he does it, his foot goes like parallel against the building wall, and it just, you see, they've got the footage of it, and they showed it.
Oh.
Friend of the show, Dave Guy's calling me.
This is a very unprofessional start to the podcast.
Let's get Dave Guy on.
All right, mate. What are you doing?
Hello, Andrew. How are you?
Good. Guess what I'm doing right now?
You're on the train coming down to
No,
Cornwall.
I'm just about to start recording the podcast.
Podcast?
Yeah, you know that thing.
Hey, Dave.
Joe Pender's here too, and Arlo.
Hey, mate, you alright?
Yeah, not bad, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Bit hungover today.
What'd you do last night?
We had some old friends round for a fucking barbecue. So, what's this podcast anyway?
It was that. Remember, you messaged me about it when I first sent it. It's just like three of us talking about movies and stuff like that.
Is that where I said that I wanted to be on it or something?
Yeah, it was that.
Anytime, Dave. Anytime.
Tell me more about it. Listen, I need to ask you some questions a minute.
Go on then.
Do you grow your own vegetables like tomatoes?
Yeah. What?
I heard you did yesterday.
Who told you that?
Rachel.
We're getting Titchmarsh on next
Oh,
week.
did you? Yeah. I didn't grow tomatoes, but I grew some stuff on my roof. Why is that?
I want to get a little greenhouse and fucking start growing some herbs and vegetables and stuff like that.
Oh, do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay.
It's like 10 quid.
Stop
for a
bragging
little,
about it and start doing it,
wavy
mate.
thing for a little walk-in greenhouse thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I just did it outside. I didn't have a greenhouse.
Listen to this now. Listen to me. So if I grow herbs like rosemary and parsley and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you laughing?
It's just I just wasn't expecting this phone call. That's all.
If I was growing herbs like rosemary and parsley and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Once they grow pretty big and pretty like solid, can I then plant them in the garden and would they still stay alive?
Yeah. So it's called, like, I can't remember the name for it, but you grow it as a seed in a pot, or like what?
To a certain like height
Germination,
or
I
something, and
believe.
then you can put them in the ground.
Yeah, and then you take it out, put it in the ground. But rosemary, you might be able to do straight in the ground. It's quite like strong.
Mint you can do straight as well.
Yeah. You know, mint just grows anywhere. It's like a weed, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I want to fucking do a little weird little hobby now, but don't tell anyone that I'm weird like this.
Okay. It might be on our podcast.
Yeah, alright. Yeah, podcast.
He was like my best friend growing up. We used to sell shells together
On the seashore.
On the seashore. Yeah.
And speaking of SSS, how's this for a link?
Oh.
Welcome back, and thanks for listening to Slate Six. My name is Andrew. To my right is Joe.
Hey.
And to my left is Arlo.
What's on, rude boys?
Oh, No.
That's going to be my new thing.
No.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Why? You don't like it?
No.
Oh.
No catchphrases of that.
I've done hey hey every week.
Have you?
I don't know if you noticed that.
I've not noticed that.
Yeah.
No.
Hey hey, like Krusty the Clown.
Very good. So I wanted to give a shout out to 2 international listeners. We have the guy from the States that said, "You guys over the ponds are so fun." I don't have his name written down, but
Oh, Andrew.
Cheers to that.
yeah,
Yeah,
but thanks.
we really appreciate it.
It was a few episodes ago, and also thanks to Tristan listening in Australia, who got in touch and said he was enjoying listening.
We are global.
Yeah, that's
Wow,
it.
Mr. Worldwide. I think what we'll do is we'll track down the American guy's name and give him a proper shout out.
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah,
no, we really appreciate the feedback.
yeah, definitely. Maybe I'll just edit it in
Yeah.
just over the top of my voice, just read it out.
Please insert name here.
And if anyone could like and subscribe on all the various platforms we're on, that really helps us
Oh,
out. And
we now have Twitter as
yes,
well.
We have a very tasty Twitter page.
It is very tasty. Arlo did a good job on it. Very good job. What's the at? Well,
At Sync6.
what
At Sync6. I didn't set up the Twitter handle. That was you guys.
was it?
At Sync 6.
Yep. That's what it says.
Really?
Yep.
I changed it.
Says at.
Remember, because you two kept on going, oh, why have you put spaces in it? Or, why is it not capitalised? So I
Did we?
changed it. Like
You don't have spaces in Twitter handles anyway.
What am I thinking of then? Oh, when I set up the Instagram.
That's-
Potentially. We are also on Instagram. There you go.
Okay, so our Twitter's at Sync6.
Yep.
But that's not our name.
But
Can we change
why?
it?
Why are you both doing this to me as though I was the one who set the Twitter handle up? It was one of you.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't me. I don't remember doing
I
it.
think it might have been me, actually.
Okay, cool. We'll have a word with yourself then.
Can we change it, though? That's
Yes.
okay. So currently at Sync 6.
Let's hark back to the first podcast. I don't think Sync Slate 6 is going to be taken.
Yeah, I did say that. Fair enough.
And we're on Spotify, SoundCloud, Instagram, like you said, Acast. If you listen to your podcast on there, and
Are we on that
YouTube.
now, are we?
Yeah, I just signed us up.
Oh,
I don't
awesome.
know what we get from it, but
Cool.
hopefully something.
Yeah, we need some more subscribers on YouTube for that.
Yeah, like
handle.
us, love us, please.
We need to make one of those banners as well, don't we, at some point? You were saying.
Oh yeah, for the top. No, we need 100.
Oh, you can't do that. until
Something
you
like
get
that. Yeah, some weird rules.
Maybe I'll just make 100 accounts.
You know, some people have like your name January at gmail.com, your name February at gmail.com to do all like the free subscription stuff.
Get 12 of them.
Yeah.
Breaking news. We now have a Twitter with the handle at Sync Slate 6.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was rapid.
Real time.
And
Real
is it
time.
capitalised?
It is capitalised, yes.
Very good.
Thank
Very
you.
good. So, news. Who's got news?
I went first last week, so I think...
We're on a rotation basis. aren't we?
yeah, I think we're sitting around a circular
I
table.
think that's a
so
good
it
way
makes
to do it.
Quite
Yeah.
easy.
Do you want to go first?
I'm happy to go first. I want to follow on from the topic of music biopics that we touched on, or biopics, as I've actually now found out.
No. See, when you said that last week, I was thinking about it. I couldn't get that out of my head. You were like, "No, it is biopics," and I was like, "There must be other examples of."
It's because I think it's a mispronunciation because everyone says myopic, so you just think of it as biopic, but it's two words put together, so it is biopic.
Yeah, like biography picture. It sucks. I mean, I hate.
don't agree.
Yeah.
Well,
Think about words like biology. It's not biology.
right,
It's
but what's
bio?
But
that's the study of what's logy isn't a word.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same format.
It's
though.
not. But biographical picture is two words put together.
To make
Biology
one word.
is one word. It's the study of plants and
I don't-
ting.
plants and tea. I disagree.
Okay, great. Here's my
Maybe
news.
we could do a Twitter poll of how to pronounce it and see
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
see who agrees with me and who agrees with you and the Americans.
Okay. I don't know why you don't like Americans.
I do like Americans.
Well, it was Independence Day the other day, so
It was.
shout out to that guy whose name we don't remember from America.
And also to an incredible film starring Jeff Goldblum and
Yes.
Will Smith, because it's now our Independence Day. It's in worldwide.
Okay, great. I'm going to go back to the news that I was originally going to talk about. Following on from our theme of music biopics, a couple of weeks ago, there is a Elvis Presley biopic in the works, directed by Baz Luhrmann, if you remember from Moulin Rouge fame.
He does musicals, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's not everyone's cup of tea. He's a bit cheesy. Like, I don't really like Moulin Rouge. Hot take, maybe.
Never seen it.
They do like a really awful cover of Heroes in that, which is painful.
Wait. They do a really bad cover of what?
Heroes.
Bowie.
David Bowie.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So yeah, there are a number of casting options for it's basically going to be centered around young Elvis Presley.
That's what I was going to ask. They're not going to try and do his whole life, surely.
No. So it's going to be a young Elvis Presley. 5 early kind of casting options have come out as to who could play him. I don't know if you've seen Baby Driver.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Great
really
film.
good film.
So Ansel Elgort out of Baby Driver is one of the options.
I mean, I haven't seen him in anything else.
Who was
apart
he
from
in
Baby
that?
Driver.
He was
The main.
Baby,
He was
yeah.
Baby.
Yeah. He was great in that.
Yeah, really good. And then we've got Aaron Taylor Johnson, who, Kick-Ass fame, Quicksilver and Avengers.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
He's just like our reaction there.
Okay, you'll like this next one then. Harry Styles.
Well, he was good in Dunkirk, right?
I
seen
haven't seen Dunkirk.
It's really good. I mean, everyone looks vaguely similar because they've got like the 40s haircut and it's blonde. But I'm pretty sure if he's the one I'm thinking of,
I don't
it's
like
good.
that casting decision.
No, I don't like the idea of Harry Styles doing anything.
I think that so far my favorite, my favorite's the baby, not
Yeah,
the baby,
Ansel
not a
Elgort.
baby.
Any
Then
others?
Miles Teller
No.
From
from Whiplash.
Oh, of course.
And he was Mr. Fantastic, wasn't he? In the
Yeah,
Josh
yeah, he
Trank.
was.
We'll give him a pass on that one,
Yeah.
seeing as he's quite good.
Yeah, I
actor.
mean, everyone was pretty terrible in that.
He has biopic kind of history as well. He did Bleed for This about Vinny Pazienza, the boxer who.
I could
was
get
in a
on
car
board
crash.
with that, I think.
He's got the look as well. He's got the kind of.
Is he good looking enough to play Elvis, though?
I mean, I think Miles Teller's a
Like,
relatively good-looking guy.
Young Elvis was a handsome man.
Well, I mean, no one's going to be as handsome as young Elvis. He's like a cult figure. And then the last one in the running is a guy called Austin Butler, who's kind of less of a well-known name.
It'll
But,
probably go to him.
he's going to be in Segway. I know you guys have got news coming, but he's going to be in the up-and-coming zombie film, The Dead Don't Die.
Oh,
So,
well,
Ah.
that's a good segue.
Thank you.
But I want to come back to this Elvis film. So is there any more news? Like, is there...
Do we have a name for it? Because it's going to be like either one of his song titles. It will either be like.
There doesn't appear to be a working title for it net.
No,
yeah.
I've got it.
It could
Go
actually
on.
The King.
Jailhouse
Oh,
Rock?
that's what I was going to say.
The King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a bad shout.
Yeah, there you go.
I wonder if they'll focus on any of like the Vietnam stuff.
That's an interesting angle. I mean, is that young Elvis though?
Was he out there fighting?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did go, didn't he?
went, yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, that would be
I
interesting.
don't think he was in the front lines or anything. I think they kept him back,
Yeah.
like safe in the relatively safe
Yeah.
area, wherever that was.
I
Not Vietnam.
yeah.
I probably would watch that just because I don't actually know enough about Elvis's backstory. The only thing I know about him is that a lot of his songs were written by African American musicians, and he just, or the record, it's probably the record label more than him, just took them and, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna have an Elvis movie, I don't think they're gonna be risky with it though. That's my one concern. I think because it's got such a big draw, with people are gonna go see it anyway. They're gonna do what we said last time and hit on all of those tropes, where he's about to go on stage at the start, flashback. Like
Yeah.
I
I think it'll be very mainstream.
I think so too,
And I
yeah.
think what tells you it's going to be mainstream is the fact it's Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah.
He's very kind of gimmicky. I mean, Moulin Rouge, for example, it is one of those spontaneous burst into song type movies, isn't it? Like, are we going to get the same with this? But I mean, what's he going to... Blue suede shoes. I bet that will be a
That's
like
another contender
out of
for a
nowhere.
title.
Yeah, it'll do that thing where someone will be like, "Hey, Elvis, nice blue suede shoes," and then it just like
Ding
ding, and
Thank you very much.
then it just pops to him performing that on stage. Like,
Good Elvis voice, by the way.
Thanks. Yeah, been working on that one.
well, that could be quite exciting.
But it does confirm that rise of the music biopic, doesn't it? It's
Yeah, I mean they're just going through a checklist in Hollywood now, aren't they? Like, let's just make one for everyone. We're gonna have some really crap ones in a few years' time when they've run out of decent musicians to do.
Yeah.
how long till
So
we
we get
One
like the
Direction?
I was gonna say Tiny Temper, like, biopic.
Yeah, who's actually you could I mean it's too early now, but imagine a Stormzy biopic. That would be
After Glastonbury last week,
Yeah.
I suppose.
That'd be quite good.
Yeah,
Is it-
because I read that he was the second youngest person to headline Glastonbury after a 24-year-old David Bowie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good on him. Is it Stormzy that does the thing with is it Cambridge or Oxford University?
Oh, I'm not sure.
It might be Stormzy that he's so wealthy that he's started this program that lets people from disadvantaged families, like he comes from, he sort of like buys them places into Oxford and Cambridge.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, there were some people like
Wow.
some rich toffees going crazy about it, but he was like, what are you going to do? I'm just as rich, if not richer than you guys. So I think he's like
The
secured
Stormzy
10
scholarship
places.
for-
Yeah, and it's called something like that. I think it's Stormzy.
For kids that can't read good.
No, if anything, it sounds like it's for kids that can read good but aren't afforded the opportunity. But yeah, that was my news.
Oh, that's quite interesting.
Yeah, no, that is interesting. Have they started production, or has it been written, or?
They're in casting now.
Okay, so I
so
imagine it'll be written, so probably start filming end of this year or something. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe a summer release next year.
roles expected to be cast in the coming weeks. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'd expect a 2020 summer release.
Yeah,
date then.
yeah. When was? No, it'd be like the Rocket Man date. When was that? Like a month ago or whatever.
yeah.
It'd be roughly.
Yeah.
I think
Like
what is
April.
obvious is I'm far less hungover this week because I've done some research.
Yeah.
and I've made a good point.
He's back. He's
I'm
back,
back,
baby. Talking of Moulin Rouge, Mulan from Disney.
Oh, we are nailing these transitions today.
That's very nice.
Last week I said the next Disney live action would be The Little Mermaid. It's not. It's going to be Mulan.
Ah,
Well, no,
Yeah,
they're both in production.
Yeah, but the next one coming out,
Oh,
I
is
said would
it?
be Little
Okay.
Mermaid. Yeah. And speaking of The Little Mermaid, Halle Bailey got cast, and the internet is in uproar because she is not white with red hair, basically.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
these
ridiculous.
things annoy me so much. It goes back to
Yeah.
the whole. Do you remember when Fantastic Four was recast and Michael B. Jordan was going to be the Human Torch?
Yeah.
And all these comic book nerds came out of the woodwork like, the Human Torch isn't black.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up.
Well,
Yeah.
they did that with Donald Glover being Spider-Man, and like all these guys were like, Spider-Man's not black, and it's like,
Miles
yes,
Morales.
he is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's always people that have never picked up a comic book in their life that just
Keyboard warriors,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. And it's like, why? It just doesn't matter. It's like, who cares? It's not.
That's really disappointing that
Yeah,
there is
people
that
react
I mean,
like that.
yeah, it is disappointing. There is sometimes when it comes to like pandering to the audience, like to get them into the seat, because Disney know that this is going to cause controversy, though.
True.
And I want to believe that they're doing this for more diversity within their universe, but there is no doubt an element of this will cause controversy and this
Definitely.
will get bums in seats. So yeah, but no, I think it's a good casting choice.
Yeah, me too.
Um,
Because she's part of that Disney alumni singer, right?
Yeah.
That kind of like Nickelodeon.
what's her name again? Haley. Is it Haley?
Halle Bailey.
I was saying it Halle.
Halle
Bailey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, which is
So when's that starting filming? Do you know?
very soon. No, I
Yeah.
don't know exactly.
Talking about Mulan that you were talking about a minute ago, have you heard about the dragon in that? What's his name? They're emitting the dragon from Mulan.
Is he not one of the main characters?
Yeah, I
very
think they're
much so.
replacing him with a phoenix.
Why?
I don't know, because Phoenixes are so hot right now, coming off Dark Phoenix.
It's called Mushu.
Mushu, that's it.
And also, it's like, say if they're like, oh, well, a talking dragon is ridiculous. It's like, well, a phoenix is also ridiculous too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've replaced one mythical being with an equally mythical being.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
When I watched...
I don't know if it will be like as much of a sidekick as it is in the cartoon.
I was just thinking, what other animals could they make it? It can't be a dog, can it?
Okay.
I knew you weren't going to like that.
Yeah, speaking of that, you know, just being like ridiculous or whatever, when I went to watch one of the recent Jurassic Parks, you know, with Chris Pratt or something.
Yeah, Jurassic World.
Yeah, or maybe the one
Fallen
before. I
Kingdom.
can't remember which one, but I came out of the cinema and there was someone behind me who was just going, oh, that was so unrealistic, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, there's live dinosaurs. Of course it was. Like, what are you expecting?
Maybe they were talking about the scene where is it Bryce Dallas? Where she runs away from the T-Rex in high heels with the flare in her arm. That's
She's wearing high heels.
She's wearing high heels, yeah.
They should have just stopped after 3, shouldn't they?
I should have stopped after the plane scene in 2, where he's having that like dream sequence and he sees the Velociraptor.
Oh, and
say,
it starts talking.
Alan.
Yeah.
Anyway, slightly off topic.
Yeah, and I've got another, well, it's kind of an in-production thing. I don't know if anyone cares about this, but on the musical side, I guess, West Side Story is being remade by Steven Spielberg.
Wow.
Is that confirmed, is it?
Yeah.
That sounds really good.
You reckon?
Yeah, well, I mean, the original West Side Story is obviously iconic, but if you get a big name director like Steven Spielberg behind it, you could recreate it for a new generation, I suppose. I think that would be the thinking behind it.
Yeah. Do you think it's his style, though?
I don't know what you would say his style is. Sci-fi? Not
Yeah,
sci-fi, but kind of...
like
Anything that
family
sells.
adventure.
Yeah, I think that sells. Well, what was his last film? Ready Player One. Was that him?
Yeah. Or maybe produced by, definitely.
He did Super 8 as well.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't watch
more
these.
sci-fi.
Has he lost it a bit?
Yes.
That's probably a
Yeah.
whole show in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
He does a lot of producing as well, though. So
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
But what does the producer do? Just throw money at it, right?
Essentially.
Well, they have some kind of creative input as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Talking about the transition of directors,
Go on.
Quentin Tarantino's come out saying that this is probably going to be his final movie.
What, the Hollywood one?
Yeah, which is completely against what we were talking about last week.
Well, he was going to do 10 and then...
He was going to do
Call it quits.
10 and done.
What's
but
this one? Number 9?
This is number 9. Yeah, he. I think he was in Australia, like promoting the film, and said like when a director has nothing more to give, like creatively, then they should throw in the towel, and he thinks he's reached that point.
Good on him, I say.
Yeah, I agree. And then like people were like, "Oh, is this real? Is this what's going on?" And then Brad Pitt came out and said that he believes that is the case. But he also was quite cryptic, and he said, "But don't worry, this won't be the last you see of Tarantino." Like,
So maybe he'll just do writing instead.
I mean, that's what
Do
I mean,
writing?
he's
What was
very
that?
much a purist, though. So that doesn't surprise
that's
me in
what
the
he
least.
loves as well. He loves the writing aspect, from what I've heard. But I don't know. It might just be to kind of hype up the
be hearsay.
movie. Like, oh, let's all go see Tarantino's last one. I mean, I can't see him disappearing from
Hollywood.
Maybe
anytime
it gives
soon.
him a buffer film. You know, maybe it could be like a comeback, and then he hits his 10, and then he's like, yeah, now I'm actually done. You know,
I also don't believe that he doesn't have more ideas on what he wants to do.
No,
I've
don't.
seen interviews with him, and it seems like his mind is kind of overflowing with creative ideas for movies at any given time. So
yeah.
I'd quite like. Yeah, it'd be disappointing if that was it for him.
What was it you said? You wrote this in our group chat. His
Yeah.
name was...
yeah, so because I was watching something about him recently, and he's named after basically his mum and his stepfather were like massive moviegoers and massive movie fans.
Yeah.
And he's named after a Burt Reynolds character in a CBS series called Gunsmoke. The character's called Quent, but not Quentin.
Yeah.
So yeah, apparently he's named after Burt Reynolds.
That's
is
a
a
good fact.
phenomenal bit of knowledge.
Yeah.
If that ever comes up in a pub quiz,
You've won it.
yeah.
My mind literally loves storing useless pieces of knowledge like that. So,
I've got a great one actually, but I'll save it for
Save it for
Christmas.
another time. You got any more movie news?
I do have one. Netflix is going to cut back on movie spending because Triple Frontier was a flop, and quite a lot of their recent movies have been trash.
Interesting.
I've not watched any of them, but there just seems to be like they just release stuff, and especially the movies suck.
See,
Well, Bird Box.
I was going to mention that. I think that was a one-off.
and also Roma.
Roma 1.
Was that a Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah.
But see, I wonder with that and Bird Box, it kind of had something behind it, and Netflix just put the cash in. I feel like it was already existing in the Hollywood circles rather than being like original start to finish. I reckon maybe those scripts and ideas were already ready to go and they just funded
Yeah,
it.
potentially.
I tell you, it's a bit of a shame this though, because in an era where we're getting more and more remakes for just
True.
basically so they're cash cows, we're
Yeah.
losing a kind of original aspect to cinema, which is
Yeah, I mean, Roma was amazing. Bird Box was pretty well received. For me, this is alarm bells all
Yeah.
over the place
Yeah.
for Netflix because the price went up as well.
Yeah.
that's what I was actually going to say, is that this sounds like kind of profit guarding at its worst.
Yeah.
I mean, if they've raised the prices and they're cutting spending on original filming, that speaks volumes to me that the board there have gone, we're not making enough money, take action.
That's
Yeah.
that's like what we were saying. You said it the other week. Is Netflix going to be
Well, it's
the new
it's the wars,
blockbuster?
isn't it? Yeah.
There's increased competition in the marketplace, like you said, with the whole new Disney streaming
You've got new
service as well.
Disney, you've got Amazon, you've got Hulu.
And certain networks taking stuff like The Office off that platform.
CBS,
and-
wasn't it?
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's still on there till 2021, but I might be wrong.
but yeah, concerning times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing about that, like the in some ways it's really bad, but in other ways, like at the moment, I know we don't pay for all of them, but we do spend quite a lot of money on all these different services. Like we've got BT, we've got Sky, we've got Amazon, we've got Netflix.
Yeah.
When Disney streaming comes out, potentially might get that. Like, if
Are you think you will?
I expect so. Yeah.
Really?
I don't really want that. What's going to be on it?
Well, all the Marvel stuff.
Oh, okay, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Marvel fan.
Yeah. And also, if there was, I mean, I'm not advocating torrenting or downloading illegally in any form, but I feel like if there's one company that can afford it, it's Disney, Marvel, you know.
If you're going to steal from someone,
Yeah.
steal from the richest
Exactly.
company.
Robin Hood.
That's the take-home message of this podcast.
Sage advice from Andrew there.
Just
he's-
don't get caught because
he's-
then you're really done for.
He's the Robin Hood of movie podcasts.
Yes. I'll take that title over, what was it I was on the Twitter?
Scintillating.
Yeah, I don't know. What does that
Scintillating
mean?
Andrew
Means
Slate.
you're fiery.
Oh, great.
And I'm, what am I?
Saint-like, which is inaccurate.
Inaccurate.
By the
what
way,
are you?
I am... Oh, I can't remember now. Put
I-
me on the spot
Synergy.
here. Synergy.
I noticed that in the...
Sagacious.
What's that mean?
Ooh.
It's like wise.
Yeah, I'd see that. I noticed
Bit
that
of
you
bias there, I think.
well, talking of bias, in the Instagram post, first you tagged yourself as the Keanu Reeves of the podcast, and then I saw last week the Woody of the podcast.
Who did I tag you? I tagged you as Duke Kaboom, though.
Yeah.
And you as Gabby Gabby.
Yeah, I am a bit of a diva. That's fine. I'm not against that. You're not Woody though. Get off your high horse. Come on.
No, I'd like to be Duke Kaboom.
Oh, well, thank you.
No worries.
Why do you all want to be Duke Kaboom?
I don't. I'd rather be a cowboy.
He's not cool. The whole point is he's a complete idiot.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all my news.
That's
yeah.
all your news. I got one bit of news, but it's quite big news. It's Marvel confirming that they are going to San Diego Comic-Con, which is they didn't go last year, so this is kind of like a big wrap up, I imagine. So they've been confirmed for Hall H on July 20th.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, it'll be a big press conference. They'll be introducing new things, kind of closing down, because Infinity War wasn't the end of Phase 3. Spider-Man Far From Home is actually the official end of Phase 3.
It's been very hard trying to find movie news and avoid
It has been.
Spider-Man spoilers. I got one. One got me.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, which I won't say it, of course. But
Yeah.
The less we talk about Spider-Man in this house, the better.
So
studio, not a house.
So,
Spider-Man?
No, studio, not a house.
Studio. Sorry, yeah, you're quite right.
that brings me on to my point. They'll probably talk about the success of Black Panther, Endgame, Infinity War, Captain Marvel, and Spider-Man, I imagine.
Great.
Kevin Feige will be there. There'll be lots of news going on, and they'll probably get lots of questions about like the mysteriousness behind Phase 4.
Which they won't answer.
Mystery or mysteriousness?
Mysteriousness. I'm sticking with mysteriousness.
Mysterio-ness.
Oh!
Yeah, good.
You are on fire today.
Thank you.
Yeah, because obviously there's big question marks behind the Scarlett Johansson Black Widow film, when it's set in the timeline, what characters are gonna be involved, what's gonna happen in it, which they haven't actually officially released it yet, even though it's in filming.
Can we all agree to just give Samuel L. Jackson a break at this point? We're not going to get him in Black Widow as well, are we?
He's done, isn't he? He's fulfilled his contract.
I don't know.
Because we're now at the point where we're having to use, like you said to me earlier, de-aging technology on Samuel L. Jackson just to keep him relevant in the Marvel universe.
But that de-aging technology was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, you haven't seen Captain Marvel, have you? Like,
No.
me and Slay went and saw it, and it's really, really
It is
good.
really good.
And they used it again on
Michael Douglas.
Michael
in
Douglas in Endgame, yeah. Which was
Minor spoiler, I guess. But.
Why would that? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
And my favourite one is still Kurt Russell de-aged in Guardians 2 because he's got that sweet 80s bouffant haircut. He looks in his prime. Yeah. So good.
There's also Eternals, which I don't know if you know much about.
No.
There hasn't been a huge amount released. People keep getting like rumoured to be cast in Eternals.
What are the Eternals?
It'd be a long podcast if we go into that.
Is there a way you can do it quickly for anyone that doesn't know? Like me.
A team up of superheroes
Okay.
in the MCU.
It's really difficult to steer podcasts away from the MCU, isn't it? There's like there's always something going on with them.
Yeah, it's just they're the forefront of
Movie making.
Yeah. Angelina Jolie has all but been confirmed for that as well.
Wow.
Why? She's not a good actress, is she?
Oh,
I don't know, but I think that's quite harsh. I think that might be a hot take of
that's
the
a bit
week.
harsh.
Okay.
She's in a lot of very mainstream films.
What was the last thing she was good in?
Salt.
And when did that come out?
That was 2016.
You're right. She's been in some terrible stuff. What was that one with her and Johnny Depp? The Tourist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
The
Tourist, yeah.
Tourist.
There was a Tourist, and then there was. Is it Wanted, where you like curve the bullet?
Was that
I
with
think
James
that's a
McAvoy?
comic book adaptation.
Is it?
I think so, yeah. Well, I can't think the last thing that she was.
No.
Tomb Raider.
Kung Fu Panda 3.
Kung Fu Panda 3.
Yeah, The Tourist was back in 2010. Salt was actually back in 2010 as well.
See,
Okay.
that's
yeah,
like 10 years ago.
I mean, she has had a big family since then. Like, give her a break, Andrew. Christ. They might. Kevin Feige might talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 3 as well. Hopefully, there'll be some questions about the James Gunn firing then rehiring as well.
Do you think they ever really fired him though?
Well, he signed for DC, didn't he? He's producing. No, he's directing Suicide Squad 2.
Yeah.
I think they just dropped the ball massively there.
What were the accusations surrounding him?
It was a tweet from years ago.
No, it was a series.
It was horrible.
It was basically like before he rose to fame, he was trying to be like an edgy comic and using Twitter as his platform, and there was some very bad tweets that got dug up by internet trolls.
Yeah,
it was a journalist he was arguing with.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, so he called a journalist out about something. I can't remember. So the journalist dug up old tweets.
How many times do you see people being attacked via tweets that they've published like 6-7 years ago? It's pathetic.
Yeah, it is.
Someone's mindset can change so much in 7 or 8 years that I just don't.
I
it
think
happens to footballers all the time as well.
Yeah,
actually.
I didn't think they should have fired James Gunn at the time. Obviously, those tweets were really bad.
Yeah, they were horrendous.
But just take take a common sense approach to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, obviously,
But-
those aren't necessarily the views he still maintains to this day.
No, but yeah, exactly. He was trying to get followers by being super edgy, but it was just a really bad timing because it was right when the whole Disney MCU like merger.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the buyout.
Well, imagine
essentially.
when they came back to him, what would you say? Well, you're going to pay me 3 times as much now.
Yeah,
That's what I would
exactly.
say.
Yeah.
Well, I think I said to you right then, the best thing DC could do right now would be to snap up James Gunn, put him at the forefront of this rebuilding operation,
Yeah.
and shove it to Marvel, and watch him build that universe. Because Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is, in my opinion, the best Marvel standalone film.
Yeah,
It is
I would
really
agree.
good. I think the best.
Best soundtrack.
What do you mean by standalone, though?
Like, if you like, because I like Infinity War, I think is the best film in the MCU because it's the
of the build-up.
culmination of 11 years worth of work and lots of movies and amazing actors.
See, I still think it's Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might agree with. Ooh, don't know. It's an episode.
That's an episode for another day.
But I know a lot of people that don't really care about superhero movies, but everyone says, "Oh yeah, like Guardians."
Yeah.
It's like the most open film that I think like
And the most
my mum would like it.
exactly the
yeah.
most impressive thing about it is it's the most abstract out of the ones they've made. It's set out
Yeah.
in space with aliens as characters,
With, like,
and
a-
yet it's the most accessible. I
Yeah,
find,
and the casting was somewhat surprising, and it's a comic from like the 80s that just kind of got lost, and no one's really a massive fan
Yeah.
of it or knew of
Yeah.
it. So
I always forget that Rocket Raccoon is
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper
Yeah.
because it doesn't sound like him to me.
I mean, it was the first time we saw Chris Pratt, apart from Zero Dark 30, I guess, in like a
Yeah,
major
Yeah.
Hollywood role.
to come
if I'm
from
not
from what he looked like in Parks and Rec
Yeah.
To that.
is,
Even in Zero Dark 30, he's huge. He's like,
Yeah.
but it's not muscle. It's like he's really bulky.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I agree with you what you're saying about like your mum could sit down and watch it,
Yeah.
not knowing anything about the MCU or seeing any of the other films. Like it's definitely it's quite impressive what James Gunn did with that film. I mean, 2 wasn't as good, but I mean, I think
Yeah.
they did good.
We've had that's a long news segment we've had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But thought provoking, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
we've done well.
We have, yeah.
Good job, team. And that's what I want to say. Actually, you just remind me. Like everyone is guilty of like putting out on whatever social media something that you think is funny and slightly edgy.
Yeah.
This is a warning, Arlo.
Well, no, I mean, I was going to say, you could even construe my dog comment when we're talking about Mulan as like that kind of right on the edge.
Yeah, exactly. And it's how it's interpreted by someone else. Like obviously, James Gunn's was pretty horrendous. It's
Yeah.
something to do with.
Let's not go into it.
It's horrible.
You can look it up yourselves if you
yeah.
want, but I wouldn't suggest
But
it.
yeah, there we go. So, have any of you guys watched Stranger Things 3?
I haven't had the time yet,
No.
to be
I'm
honest.
not really that into Stranger Things.
Okay.
Oh, really? I really enjoy it, but I'm just too busy at the
Okay.
moment.
I'm like halfway through.
yeah.
I was going to see if one of you'd watch it. Maybe we could do like a quick review. But if it's just me, then
I
How?
think maybe we can do it in, like, I'm happy to watch it. At some
Yeah,
I can do it without
can't wait to
spoiling it.
watch it. My dissertation gets handed in next Friday, and then I'm gonna sit down and watch all of them on Saturday.
awesome.
I imagine.
Okay, it's better than 2. I'm like halfway through.
Oh, cool.
Better,
Rate out of 6.
Nice.
Ooh, but I'm only I'm only halfway through. Wait, I'd call the first series like 5.5.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first series
Is
was
incredible. Yeah,
Because it's original as well.
Yeah.
I would say, I'd even have it. I'd go 5.6.
yeah. All right.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
This one-
and that's high for me. I don't just dish out a 5.6.
No, you're quite hard to please. Actually, I think you've had the lowest rating of everything we've reviewed.
Yeah, well, 1, I'm world weary, and 2, I'm not easily impressed.
I would probably put it in the 4s somewhere. I've not finished it, so I can't.
4s.
Like probably upper 4s.
Okay.
It's got like similar problems to the second one, like how they divide everyone up into that. You know, everyone usually has their
Right,
own
okay.
stories. Like some of them are stronger than others. And weaker. Like I can't really say without ruining it.
Okay, well, yeah, like I said, I'll watch it next week, and then
we could do a review.
There's a new trailer out that would really quickly transition us into our main talking point of the day, which you've just been watching.
Oh
Yeah.
Do you wanna give us a little breakdown?
Yeah. So, don't know if you've heard much about The Dead Don't Die.
no.
Love it because of the alliteration. We're a big fan of alliterations on this podcast. Some would call us alliteration fetishists. But
Alliteration files.
yeah. So new zombie film coming out, zombie comedy, released in the UK 12th of July. Basically starring Adam Driver and Chill Murray.
Great.
Chill Murray's got previous, of course.
Yes, he does.
We'll
Which
come
we'll
on to that in a little
Yeah.
bit. But yeah, it's a bit of a star-studded cast as well. There's Tilda Swinton, Steve Buscemi, Danny Glover.
Steve Buscemi's going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
in it.
Steve Buscemi's there. Iggy Pop is in it.
Those two alone would make great zombies. I mean,
Yeah.
they're halfway there already.
Selena Gomez as well. Hopefully, this film has more kind of, action and points of interest than her music.
Oh, right. So we got Tom Holland. Who did he go in last week?
I don't know.
Jessica
Rami Malek.
Remy Malek.
But yeah, so what we wanted to do was like have this as the kick-off to what we're going to be discussing today, which is zombie films.
Yes.
I love that casting. That's I love Adam Driver because have you seen that picture that says that Adam Driver just looks like someone tried to draw Keanu Reeves from memory.
That's so harsh.
But very true.
If you haven't seen that picture, look it up on Google. It is absolutely hilarious.
Amazing.
It's so on point.
That sounds great. When's it out?
So 5 days time. Well, from
Ah.
recording that is. So this will come out on the
We-
day after we
Ah.
release this podcast.
Wow.
It's a shame we couldn't watch it. We could tie that right in.
Yeah.
Should we rate it now, blindly?
Blindly rated. Well, it's got a good cast.
Yeah,
so,
casting
I mean,
alone, I think
the
it's going to be
the
good.
trailer looked quite funny as well. Do you
The
reckon
trailer
it'll-
looked
it'll
great.
more focused towards a comedy aspect or the action?
I think with Adam Driver and Chill Murray, there's definitely a propensity to be. It's got to go more comedy, hasn't it?
Yeah, have you
yeah.
seen Black Klansman?
I haven't, no,
It's
but I hear
amazing.
that's incredible.
It's so funny.
Well,
and
Spike Lee
he's-
won his first Oscar for that, didn't
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I think with those two leading it, it's probably going to be really good.
he? Yeah. And also with the like sporadic appearances of Iggy Pop. And
I mean, I've
Yeah.
only
Danny
briefly
Glover.
seen the trailer, but it looks kind of like they are small town cops.
yeah.
Perfect.
So
I'm
You've
digging
got the older Chill Murray and the younger Adam Driver.
Yeah.
You've got that like master Padawan like element to
Dan-
it.
so they're almost combining like Shaun of the Dead with what's the second one in the Cornetto series?
Oh,
Oh,
Hot
Hot
Fuzz.
Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz, like
Yeah.
having those small town cops, but like
Amazing.
having a zombie film.
Who did you say was directing it?
It's God, hang on, I can't remember his name. Oh, Andrew, why would you put me on the spot like that?
I'm sorry.
It's Jim. I can't remember his name.
Jim Jameson.
No,
No.
that's not his name.
I think that
Yeah,
alone that sounds really
well,
good.
and it also shows that
Jim Jarmusch.
What's he done?
Oh my God, do you want to just
Do you want to just?
chill out?
Sorry.
Well, someone should have done.
Well,
his
okay.
research.
Well,
We've never heard of him.
He has done nothing I've heard of.
Right.
is all I can tell you.
No, I was going to say this kind of shows that the zombie genre is not dead.
Yeah, and
Which,
that's
Ironically,
God damn it! How did I miss that?
so good. So yeah, we're going to talk about what makes a good zombie movie, and I think at the end we should say if we would survive or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's.
And
That
also,
can be the review.
I think a nice element to that would be who would be your survival partner in the movie world. You could choose one
Ooh.
Wait.
one director, actor, producer.
Oh.
Why the hell would you choose a director?
There are some pretty beefy directors out there.
So
right.
wait,
Any bigger than Dwayne the Rock Johnson?
Well, okay, that's yours, is it?
No,
Well,
no. That's not mine.
I suppose we should go back to the beginnings of zombie films.
yeah,
really,
I think
shouldn't
that's a good place to start. I have some notes on that. So it starts with, well, there probably was some old trash, but the first notable thing, which I found out inspired by the novel I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
wow.
found that earlier
Yeah,
as well.
which is really interesting. Night of the Living Dead by George Romero's. Is that how I say it? Yeah,
George
George
Romero.
Romero. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
Who also did the original Dawn of the Dead as well.
yeah, that
That's
comes
the
that comes
that's the
after.
sequel, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So that's what kicked it all off. This kind of sort of every zombie, I guess, trope that we
they
have.
draw from that
Yeah.
film.
They,
don't
yeah,
they?
that's like the initial kickoff.
Didn't it have a black protagonist as well?
Yeah, which I think it was 1968 it was released.
Yeah.
Which, that was like full on civil rights movement in the US. And really good. And I think it wasn't initially, that wasn't in the script, I think the guy was meant to be white, but this guy played it so well, he was like, yeah, I'm going with that dude, because actually who cares about, like going back to that Disney news, who cares, like if they're good for the part, you do it, you cast them. Yeah, exactly.
The thing I find funny looking back at films like that is how they've changed how zombies like come to being over the years. Like this modern age is normally about like a virus or a bacteria or
the
fungus government. And do you know how the zombies come back in Night of the Living Dead?
No, I've not seen it.
It's like it's radiation from a fallen satellite.
That's interesting, because what I was going to say is that all zombie films from 1968 to present, the way the zombies reanimate or come back to life is the biggest, like, what is in the public mindset at the time. So what's the biggest, like, threat to life or concern? Yeah. So when, like, after 9/11, all the zombie films that came out after 9/11 kind of focus on, like, post-apocalyptic, like, sources. So when you see 28 Days Later, at the start of 28 Days Later, there's a load of TV screens that they're showing the rage-infected monkeys. And on the TV screens is, like, the war in the Middle East and, like, all the violence in Iraq and Afghanistan. Oh, wow. Yeah, so it kind of plays to, I don't know, that public fear of, I mean, like, I guess, like, what your most...
Yeah.
Like, most palpable threat to life, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the best things about zombie movies, or the good ones, is that it actually becomes about humanity more than the zombie and the threat. Like, it's actually usually the best parts are how people react to it and how others deal with it, and then interactions with other humans. I think that's what makes
I mean, that's what we were saying earlier. I mean, it gets a lot of stick, but that's one thing that The Walking Dead really focuses on, and it's kind of moved from that initially, like, the main threat was the zombies, and then as series pass, they learn how to just deal with the zombies, and the humans become like the main threat.
Yeah, they don't call them zombies though, do they?
Walkers.
Which is really annoying, because everyone knows what a zombie is. Just say it.
Yeah, but their point was they lived in a universe where
that wasn't a culture.
Where George Romero hadn't made that film, and there was no such thing as a zombie.
Fine.
Does that hurt you? Does it?
Yeah, it does. But actually, on The Walking Dead, the comic got cancelled. The comic run's finishing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
But they're so far in front of the seasons anyway.
Are they?
Yeah, they're at least 100 issues.
They've done well to keep it as well. I mean, it's still. I still like watching it. I still think it's good.
I just find it just gets the same in, same out. Like, the threat might change slightly, but
I think you need to compare The Walking Dead to something like Game of Thrones, where Game of Thrones lost its source material and it was a questionable final series, whereas Walking Dead's like, is it now 2 seasons ahead? I mean, I suppose The Whisperers is still comic source, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's come further and further away from the comic book source, but
and still been interesting.
Yeah, I mean, without any spoilers, the way in this last recent series of Walking Dead, there's a Red Wedding type event in which I don't think there's any characters that it happens to in the comics that are part of what in the TV series.
Yeah, it was
completely different characters.
Right.
So they are having to move further and further away from the comics, and obviously Andrew Lincoln's gone now as well.
Which one's that? The main guy?
Rick Grimes.
Yeah.
So their main character is now a guy called Daryl, who's not even in the comic.
But Shaun is probably the main character.
But
maybe both of them carry it more than they're probably the highest paid actors on the show.
But I mean, the speech that Alpha gave to Rick in the comics was given to Daryl in the TV show. That's
Yeah, you're right.
I think or anytime it's human interactions, it really bumps the stakes up, and also human mistakes are usually what ruins it. Like, I feel like when people are usually away and just doing their own thing, it's fine, but it's when you start like getting clashes with humans where stuff always goes wrong,
Yeah.
rather than just like zombies going around.
Yeah, definitely. There's I suppose there's a few different types of zombie film, aren't there? There's like very much the like open world zombie films,
Yeah.
where traveling's not really an issue, but you're trying to escape and get into an isolated area. And then there's the other type. There's you're in an isolated area with zombies and you need to get out.
That's kind of what Night of the Living Dead does so well, though, right? Because it is just based on that farm in, I think it's in Pennsylvania, it's like
Is
rural
it?
America. So they're
I thought it was a
in that.
graveyard. No. Oh, it starts
it's
in
a
the
farm.
graveyard and then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So then they're just trapped in that house for the.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I've actually got that written down. I think hideout setting or location makes a good zombie movie. You know, like you say, the farm, the mall is a classic one.
Yeah,
the
shopping mall's
train
great.
on Train to Busan, that's like so genius.
That's the one I was gonna mention. I think because Train to Busan's my favourite zombie film.
I just watched it this morning. It's so good.
Amazing. For any of you that don't know, it's Yong Song Ho that directed Train to Busan, and it's set starting in Seoul with a father trying to get his daughter to Busan, which is miles away, and they use these super fast trains called KTXs, and they get on the train just as this zombie breakout occurs, and the whole thing's set on that train, isn't it?
It's so good, yeah.
And there's a part where they have to move to a different train.
Yeah.
They're in like the
essentially,
terminal, yeah.
But it's I think
so tense. It from like the initial setup, which is about 10-15 minutes,
Yeah.
and then they're on the train, and it's just go up until like the last minute.
Yeah.
It's so good.
What's the cause of the outbreak?
they don't.
Oh, they do say it.
Oh, do they?
Yes, it's something to do with the main guy's business, and
Right.
like a power plant or something. You know, some like vague virus type thing that they were. the
I
business
also
who worked
found
for.
out that there's an animated prequel
Oh,
to that that focuses on a girl going to Seoul subway station and seeing the initial outbreak. But I haven't
Alright.
seen that yet. I think it's called Seoul Terminal.
okay.
But
I might give that a watch. That sounds good.
Yeah.
yeah, it looks really good. But also the second one's been confirmed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember what it is in Korean, but it translates to peninsula.
Which
Ah.
South Korea is.
Yeah, which South Korea is.
So maybe it's like the zombies get as far as the demilitarized zone, and they're trying to get into like North Korea and mainland China.
They could not get away with making that movie.
No, it's a different. It's going to be a completely different cast
That
from.
would be really cool.
Maybe
Though.
it-
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine a load of zombies trying to cross that zone?
That would make
because it's full of mines and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there are massive artillery guns on either side.
Yeah.
I wonder if like that.
That would be-
that would be a great action.
Well, 'cause
Yeah.
they never really point to whether this is just a Korean outbreak or a worldwide
Yeah.
outbreak, do they?
I think that's really good.
But if it
Well,
being
they-
called peninsula, you'd imagine that it would just be Korea.
Don't
Or
they
it'll-
get to Busan though, and they see like things on fire, and like they quickly realise that there are a load of zombies in Busan as well.
No,
No.
no,
they not?
it ends on a
No.
happy note.
Yeah.
But they
that's
get.
what I
Oh,
meant.
sorry.
Wait,
Yeah, they find.
spoilers.
Yeah, they find the military. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Maybe it'll be like Speed 2. You know, Speed 1 was the train.
And is it a boat?
bus. Yeah,
Bus-
Speed 2's
bus
a
to
bus.
Busan. If you'd ever been on a Korean bus, you'd know that that'd be a very boring film.
Speed 1's the bus, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Speed 2. There is a bit on the train at the end of Speed 1.
And I think
Speed 2's
On the boat. Yeah, it's on the
Is
boat.
Speed
yeah.
3 a train? Is there a Speed 3?
Is there a Speed 3?
There might be.
I hope so.
But the thing I really liked about Train to Busan as well is the types of zombies, because they couldn't see very well, could they?
Yeah.
And so you can sneak past them.
Yeah. And it's really good in any zombie movie, like establishing those rules and just sticking to them. And that's what makes it really good. Like this, they can't, like you say, they can't see when it goes through a tunnel. They can sneak past is what they do.
Yeah, you definitely need to establish those rules early.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
And yeah, stick to your
yeah.
guns with them.
So what's the specific thing about the zombies in Train to Busan? Is it that they can't see in tunnels, but like in dark areas they're pretty useless.
Yeah, yeah.
But
They're fast zombies.
they're
Yeah.
fast. Yeah, they're like rage zombies.
Yeah, like raid zombies,
Yeah.
essentially.
But
yeah,
how do they
I guess
infect
they're
you? You get
faster.
bitten.
Bitten, yeah.
But how quickly do you turn? It's not
No,
immediate,
it's
is it?
really
It's
quick.
really quick.
It's like 10, 15 seconds, and then
Yeah.
you start to like your body starts to like convulsing.
With a bit of leeway for main characters, obviously,
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
as like the trope is.
yeah. Was it plot armor?
Yeah, that's a great term. Yeah, what other ones have got great settings?
That's interesting. Just to touch on that, it's interesting that zombie culture or the zombie genre is kind of stretching around the world.
Yeah.
So like it's not kind of limited to Hollywood or like mainstream film. It has made it as far as Korea, and it's made it as far as
Yeah,
Korea
Spain
are
as well.
definitely at the forefront at the moment as well, because there's that series on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen.
no, no.
Called The Kingdom.
Yeah, it's really good.
That we watched. It's but it's really interesting, and I'd really highly recommend it because it's a zombie like TV series on Netflix. So they obviously all drop the same day, so you can binge if you want.
Yeah.
But it's set in Joseon period, so it's set like 200 years ago, which you don't see very often. You often see dealing with zombies with artillery.
Yeah.
But these guys have got swords and stuff.
That sounds really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
The zombies in that are really interesting as
they're
well.
really interesting because they have a different set of rules to what you normally see. Because when it goes to the daytime, they like
They hide.
they hide.
They find
hide
shaded
under
areas.
like ground, and they go back to being essentially dead. And then as soon as the night comes, they're up, and your
Right.
daytime is when you like build your defenses and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, if you
So
get
that's
a chance.
kind of more like vampires, I think.
Yeah,
Which is,
exactly.
I think, in the novel I Am Legend, how it was first kind of
Yeah.
imagined,
There's-
and then George
there's
Romero.
actually a twist at the end of the series that I won't give away.
Okay.
But how they work, yeah.
Yeah,
but so the outbreak on that is there's a royal family that
No, the outbreak on that's really interesting. So basically, it's quite political as well, because it says that there were regions of Korea at that time that were so poor and impoverished that they started eating human meat as a source of nutrients, and then that led to one person getting infected, which obviously keeps going. But there's also a really weird political struggle going on in the program, whereby the king of the country is actually a zombie, but they're keeping him kind of like alive
Oh, right.
until his wife has a baby and there's like a line of succession. Oh, seriously,
Yeah,
give
so
it
that
a
sounds
watch.
really good, yeah. Sounds very tense.
Well, what were we talking about before? Setting.
Yes,
how
setting.
important setting is.
Well, I was going to bring up. I mean, again, it's on the kind of foreign film or foreign cinema vibe, but Rec.
Yeah,
like you've seen Rec.
Yeah, I've seen Rec.
I've not seen it. What's Rex?
So it's a Spanish film,
Yeah.
set in basically, I think it's in like a apartment complex in
Yeah, it's a
Madrid.
tower
So it's
block,
just like
isn't
like a tower block, but they're quite common. It's
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
apartment on every floor.
Yeah.
And basically, like a couple of the residents start feeling unwell, and no one can figure out why. And it kind of the like fire brigade and people are called in. And like as the film goes on, you kind of realize that there's this like weird religious / like scientific experiment gone wrong in the attic of the apartment complex that no one has access to. It's locked. But there's like this. I think they call her the Madeira girl. She's like 10 or 11 years old, and she's like the result of some experiment this priest has done on her. But she's
Right.
like 6 foot tall and uber skinny, and just like feral.
So is there just one zombie in this? If she bites, do they not become zombies as well? Then?
She basically just kills.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And it's found footage as well, isn't it? It's a found
Yeah,
footage.
so it's like Blair Witch.
Ah,
yeah.
nice. I was wondering where the title came from.
But the perspective switches quite a lot, I think. So when the fire brigade come in and they have like body cams, it switches to their body cams and what they see.
Okay.
But yeah, that like zombies do generate.
Oh, do they?
Throughout
Okay,
the
so
film,
people, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So at the end, so they're like rage infected as well. They're really, really fast.
But that's that's almost similar to Train to Busan in the setting, where it's like a very closed
Yeah,
environment,
Confined,
Yeah.
and you can't just. Well, I imagine they can't just jump out the window because they're going to be. few
No,
floors up.
so basically the military get there and they contain
Oh,
it.
they're trying to contain it,
Right.
right? I see.
So they block all the windows off and they shut everyone in.
That sounds
That's
really
almost
good.
more terrifying than if there was an open world and you were to see a horde of zombies in the distance, because
Yeah.
you can run in any different direction. But when you're in a closed environment, you've got to deal with the issue. You can't just run away from it.
But then they did a second one which follows on from the first one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so at the end of the first one,
Spoilers.
Okay. At the end of the first one, you see the protagonist basically dragged off,
Yes, I've seen that clip of it.
but you don't see what
It's
happens
a series,
to her.
right, or movie?
No, it's a movie.
Okay, it's a movie, right. Sorry, go on.
And then you see what happens to her at the beginning of the second one, and it goes from there. But it's still contained to the apartment block.
Is it set immediately after?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's quite cool.
Yeah.
Because you very rarely see that these days, do you?
No, and then they send a priest in.
A priest in. Oh,
Yeah.
so it's more like magical and
Yeah, it's like
Like
a weird.
Exorcist.
It's a weird cross between like religion and science. Like both are involved in
that's
the
quite
outbreak.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because like we were saying earlier, most go with that kind of viral or bacterial
Yeah.
fungal outbreak, like a scientific reason behind these zombies.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I'd thoroughly recommend it. I think it's about 10, 15 years old now, but it holds up.
Yeah.
We're taking it around the World War Z.
Wow.
That's not a
Sorry,
good pun.
that did not land.
We do have a bit of a competition on this podcast as to who gets the best pun on each episode, don't we?
I
Who
did
gets
not.
the sweetest transition.
The Swedish transition.
Sweetest. What do you want to say about World War Z?
It sucks.
Really?
I'm inclined to agree, but I find it entertaining.
Yeah, mostly because of Brad Pitt's hair.
Brad Pitt's hair.
It's just not necessary for that movie. I don't know if he's trying to method act a geography teacher or scientist,
He's
whatever
giving the
meant to be.
zombies something to hold on to.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
I mean, I've only seen it once.
Yeah, me too.
I've seen it a couple times.
I was talking to a guy at a party last night about, weirdly actually, we were talking about books, and he mentioned, I can't remember, we got onto the topic of zombies somehow, and he said World War Z is a book, but he said in the book it's told from hundreds of different perspectives. So you could have a chapter that's like 2 pages long from like a fireman. You could have a 5-chapter bit about a scientist or whatever, and that sounds way more interesting
Yeah,
than
but would you
Brad
be able
Pitt.
to make a movie out of that? Like, you wouldn't have any character development whatsoever, really, would you?
I think you could. I think that'd be really. I like.
It'd
the
be
idea.
very
Yeah.
different.
Exactly. I like the idea of that. I mean, maybe it's because they already confirmed Brad Pitt. It's like, oh, we have to pander to Brad wanting all the star time.
Because you couldn't do it obviously with like hundreds of characters, but you could do 3 and then like meet it at the end.
Yeah.
Or even you didn't.
Can
don't
you
really have
imagine Brad arriving on set and director being like, "Oh, Brad, no, not that hair, Brad. No, come on, we talked about this.
Lose the glasses too.
Let's get some frosted tips on you.
Yeah.
We wanted Fight Club, Brad, not geography teacher, Brad."
His hair's worse in Moneyball though. But anyway,
We're back onto Brad Pitt's hair. Are we going to do a whole
every podcast
on Brad Pitt's hair?
Yes.
The thing about World War Z that doesn't really hold up is the animation aspect. I think the bit where they're in Israel. Is it Israel?
Yeah.
And
They go to Tel
they're
Aviv,
all
don't they?
climbing on top of each other to get over the wall. And if you look back at that now, it's really bad.
And that was the selling point in the trailer too.
Yeah, it was.
But do you not think it's distracting that they go to so many worldwide locations?
I
in
think
World
so
War Z?
too.
They go to Korea, don't they?
I can't remember. Do they?
Yeah.
I know they
Yeah.
go to Israel and then they get on a plane that crashes. It's a
sucks.
weird film.
And I think that goes back to that by like confining it and making it more tense,
Yeah.
it works so much better than just like running about.
Actually, I'm gonna massively backtrack there, and the bit where they're on the plane's really good because it is that confined environment.
Exactly.
And
Oh, it's a lot more intimate, isn't it? Like
one of them's infected, or one of them's infected in the bathroom, and they come out of the bathroom and infect the next person, and then he kind of pulls back the curtain that separates the plane, and he sees everyone turning, and he's like, "Oh no."
Yeah, it's not what you want to see.
No, he's like, "I know how to get out of this. I'll blow up a grenade on a plane." And the pilot, you see the pilot struggling with it, like, "What has happened? Who's done this?" And all the zombies get sucked out, and he's kind of like holding on to the seats, which would never.
That's Wow, I can't remember that.
No, I
at
can't
all.
remember it.
The zombies in that are kind of quite similar to the zombies in I Am Legend.
No.
Like very like they look the same, very like thin, tall,
Really?
skinny.
No. They're
They're
just
not?
No, they look quite human. But they're
Oh,
just
completely-
rage infected. They're just quick.
Right,
They're really
yeah,
quick.
remembering this
I
wrong.
think I Am Legend was not very good. The
Have you
movie.
seen the alternate ending?
No.
Yeah.
So in the original ending, we got to put right. Okay, what's the cutoff for spoiler alert? By
I
the
think
way?
I Am Legend's fine.
Okay.
It was like what?
Should we say
10?
2 years? Is like a,
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Okay.
Maybe.
I think maybe the rule should be like if you highly recommend the film, but it's from 10 years ago, and you think it's one that people might not have seen,
Yeah.
like Train to Busan, for example,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
don't go
Yeah.
into spoilers.
Or if like there's a huge spoiler that would affect your
You're
watching of
watching.
the movie.
Yeah.
Say if no one had seen Empire Strikes Back, if you said Luke father bit, that would obviously.
If you'd
ruin
got
it.
through all of your life and not known that spoiler, that's pretty impressive. What was I saying? Oh, the alternate ending. Of,
Yes.
So the original one where he gets the grenade and he basically blows up the
Is there
The
like
lab.
a super bad one that?
There's the alpha,
Yeah.
basically.
So basically, the alternative ending is the woman zombie that he was testing on is the alpha's like wife, and so he meets him at the glass pane, and they exchange a look. And then he gives the wife back to the zombie.
No.
Well, no,
good.
he's trying to smash his way in, isn't he? Even in the alternate ending.
Yeah.
And then he kind of Will Smith's and he takes the kid and the mother away and chucks them in the safe space.
Right.
And then he just opens the door to the alpha.
Okay.
And I think he re-injects because the female he's kidnapped is cured at this point. So
Right.
her heart rates come right down. She's her color's coming back, and he re-injects her with the virus and then wheels her out to the alpha.
He re-injects her with the virus. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and then she comes back to life as a zombie.
It just sounds a bit over
And then he gets a
Hollywooded.
grenade and blows them all up.
No. No, the alpha's I don't know. He picks up the
I just remember him walking off with
and he walks off, but he calls off all the other zombies as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
The-
So it kind
the-
of gave a bit of humanity to zombies, which
Well,
you don't really see a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
the
falls
original
down.
ending is way better.
yeah.
Because the thing about I Am Legend is that it's meant to be he is actually not the norm. So society is now the zombies, and he's fighting against something that actually he's the odd one out.
If
That's I think the point of it,
Yeah.
but they missed it in the movie.
if he lived, it kind of takes away from the point of the title, right?
Yeah,
Do you know how it ends in the books?
I don't know.
What
I
do
was
we,
talking
what,
like
so
I
what do
read
we
it,
think
but I
of that? What as a because obviously that's the interesting element around that, and when we're talking about location, is that it's based in New york, but New York's kind of
Yeah.
the weird-
changed to this wild, there's
Yeah.
I think
the stupid aren't there
yeah.
lions living there?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been 12 Monkeyed, if you've seen that.
yeah,
movie.
yeah. It's
Yeah, but it's a lot of it's more his battle with loneliness as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how a lot of the movie's directed.
But I really liked all the individual scenes of just him and they're a deer or I don't know whatever you'd call them in America, the equivalent antelope maybe. Just jumping through the streets of New York. That's quite cool.
I mean, his relationship with his dog is pretty good. That's a good part of the film, I thought. And then he has to snap its neck.
Savage.
Savage.
I think what lets it down is it doesn't really feel like there's that many stakes at hand, really, which I think goes a long way in zombie movies. Say Shaun of the Dead, which is a rom-com set in a zombie.
a RomComZom.
Yeah, a
Zom-Com.
RomComZom. Zom-Com. There's actual stakes to it. And they're just trying. Even though the location's kind of a bit more spread out, they're just trying to get to the pub to be safe. But it's just even that's way more tense.
Zombie comedies, their own genre almost, and there's a lot of great ones out there.
Definitely.
Isn't there?
Well, even the original Dawn of the Dead, there's some funny parts in that, like the zombies going up the escalators in the mall, and they can't really do it. It's hilarious.
But Shaun of the Dead was such an amazing kind of branch between that scary zombie genre and like the comedy behind it as well. It's got so many funny parts in it.
Yeah.
Are we saying Shaun of the Dead is the first of its kind? Zombie comedy?
Apart from what George Romero had done, I would say so.
Yeah.
That I can think of.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it launched 100 or
Yeah.
1,000 kind of zombie comedy films, didn't it?
Yeah. And the only one that's almost kind of got up to the same standard, I'd say, would be Zombieland.
Zombieland is really funny.
Yeah.
But that's more focused on the zombies and less on the comedy, I'd say, more on the action. Than Shaun of the Dead is just one joke after another in a lot of places. The funniest part of Shaun of the Dead is where I can't remember the guy with glasses. What's his name?
Oh, Peter Serafinowicz, the actor.
What's his name in the film?
Can't remember.
Is it Peter? I think it might.
Pete, yeah, Pete.
Yeah. And he's there, they're in the garden, and he's just like, "What's wrong, Pete? Never taken a shortcut." He just runs.
Oh no, he's dead at that point.
What?
Peter Serafinovich's character is the
he's
one
the
they live
housemate.
with.
Oh, not him. Yeah.
I'm thinking of Dawn from
Ed.
The Opposite. Yeah, that's it. Ed.
Ed.
No,
No,
Ed's
Ed's
Nick Frost.
Yeah, Nick Frost.
No, you're thinking of Dawn from The Office's boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's just like
Yeah. I can't remember his name.
No,
That's
obscure
a
knowledge.
hilarious film.
Yeah, that's really.
I feel like, isn't it the guy from? No, it's not the same guy from Black Books, is it?
There's a bit of an Edgar Wright trope in that film as well, isn't there? Because I mean that's one of his first films.
Yeah.
But there's the bit where Shaun's kind of sat kind of unconsciously in front of the TV and he's just flicking channels, and you get every different channel give you like a 3 to 4 word snippet of what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's like there's one bit where it's like someone singing "Panic in the Streets of London," but he does that at the start of Baby Driver as well. It's like the graffiti on the walls is like mirroring the lyrics of the song.
Well, what they say they're gonna do on a night out at the beginning is actually bit for bit what they do through it. So
I just love the stupidity of some part. Like dogs can't look up.
when there's that zombie coming to attack Shaun, and someone throws him like a pole with one of the tennis balls on the end. And it's like, oh yeah, spins around. Just hits him. It's like,
swing ball.
Yeah, swing ball. That's it.
Yeah, that's so good. What I really like about that and a lot of these good zombie movies, it just drops you in it, like you say. You're just dropped into this world, and then it's just like go. You know, like that. It's you have that bit.
I like the slow
on the
reveal.
TV. Do you?
Of how it is now a zombie-dominated world. Do you not remember? So he's basically just part of the rat race, and he's on his way to work, and he sees like people collapse, or he sees like someone try and eat a pigeon, and he's like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
But he kind of then just gets distracted and ignores it again, and then he wakes up the next morning. You have those like that really nice part where the scenes are paralleled, where he goes to the corner
going to
shop.
bring that up when he goes to the corner shop and he like gets an ice cream out of the freezer, closes the door, and there's like a big hand smear of blood down it, and then he just like has a little slip. He goes, whoop. You don't ever see the blood on the floor, and it's just it's implied. And then he just goes up to the counter. He's like, "I owe you 12p," and you just like hear a zombie moan in the background.
Yeah, and even the homeless bloke comes up to him as a zombie, and he's like, "Sorry, mate, I'm gonna can't even afford the cornetto and the."
Previous to that, when they're leaving the pub the night before, and they see that zombie for the first time, and they're like,
they're singing White Lines.
He's pissed.
They're doing the
I love when they chuck the records at the first one they meet, and he's just like, what does he say? The Batman soundtrack? He's like, yeah, chuck it, and they're like, ooh, not that.
Yeah, that's a fab film. Really enjoyed it.
It's so good. I like like a lot of zombie movies. They're essentially like always a chase.
Yeah.
And this one's a chase to the pub, but all of them seem to be basically a chase to somewhere, or you're trying to get from one place to another. Like 28 Days Later.
You don't get a hell of a lot of gore in that film up until the end scene, do you? Where he gets dragged out of the window and they all just kind of tear his stomach apart.
Yeah, I suppose not.
And also you got to talk about the I know we covered Bohemian Rhapsody a little bit a couple of weeks ago. Don't Stop Me Now. See?
Yeah. Do you know what song they
With
were
the
originally
Porkies.
going to use?
No.
Rasputin by Boney M.
Oh, that would have been
Really?
Yeah,
I mean,
so
now it
good.
works.
But they said like the joke probably wouldn't translate in the US as much to here, so they switched it to a Queen track.
That makes sense.
But listen to that
That's
song.
a good bit of knowledge.
Yeah.
Where's that come from?
Well, Edgar Wright's one of my favorite directors, so I watch like interviews with him on like YouTube or like anytime he's on a podcast. I usually listen. So
What do you
I
make
just
of the whole? Because obviously, Spaced is
Spaced is amazing.
a really cult comedy from the early noughties,
Yeah.
and he crosses paths with.
Oh yeah, it's
I
like
can't remember
a
the actress's
crossover.
name out of
She's
Spaced,
called Daisy in Space.
but they have like the equivalent group, don't they?
Yeah,
And like Matt Lucas is Nick Frost.
Oh, of course, yeah.
it's really good. I mean, Shaun of the
Oh,
Dead.
and Martin Freeman actually.
Oh, yeah, he
is
is it, yeah.
her
Oh,
boyfriend.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, Shaun of the Dead is like Space the movie plus zombies, really,
Yeah.
essentially.
But what do we like about Zombieland?
I love the way they like I don't know the
Like
way
the
they shot
rules.
it, the rules and stuff that they put up on the is
Like
is
double
really,
tap.
yeah,
Because
really
at the start,
well done.
and it shows you how Jesse Eisenberg's character like learns all these rules. So
Okay.
he basically gets attacked by Amber Heard. I think it is at the start of the film.
Is that Amber Heard? Is
Yeah. She gets bitten by what she calls a mugger, and then she comes into his house and he looks after her because he really fancies her, and then he wakes up and she's a zombie.
Oh
So
yeah.
he hits her with the head of the toilet seat.
Oh yeah, I do.
But she
remember
doesn't.
that, yeah.
She like tries to grab him again. So then he like hits her again, and he's like, first rule, double tap.
Double tap. Yeah, I do hate that in horror movies when they're just. I mean, it's more other horror movies, but they'll just like beat or pummel someone. It's like just do like when they're shooting someone loads, like just put a last bullet in the head just to be sure. That's like really bad in Halloween, the series.
Yeah.
The movie series.
I really like the intertextuality in Zombieland as well. So I mean, Woody Harrelson's character is obviously amazing in that film.
Yeah.
Like, he very much like I don't know. He's the fan favorite. But there's the bit where he walks into a store and he picks up the banjo and plays Deliverance to like lure out all the zombies.
What's
Or
his
there's-
arc? It's trying to get a Twinkie, isn't it?
Yeah, he really wants a Twinkie. And there's the bit where the huge zombie in the like shop he walks into comes out at him, and he walks up to him and he goes, "You got a purty mouth, boy." So there's like again the whole Deliverance aspect of it.
What are they trying to do in that movie? Are they trying to get to some? I've only watched it once, I think.
Emma Stone and I forget the name of the younger actress, but they're trying to make it to this fairground because like when they were kids they were always told like, it's the happiest place in the world or whatever. Jesse Eisenberg's character's just trying to survive, I think.
Yeah. Coming back to Double Tap, that's what the sequel's going to be called.
Really?
Zombieland Double Tap. Yeah. And that comes out
like that.
in October.
Yeah, which I'm really looking forward to.
Really?
Yeah.
I've only seen it Zombieland once, but do you think it needs a sequel?
It doesn't necessarily need one, but I mean it's good fun. So
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't think.
I think they'll do well with it as
You
well.
reckon? Okay.
Yeah,
If they could bring back Bill Murray's character somehow as well.
that is I think my favorite thing about that film is that the simplest motive is him trying to get a Twinkie.
Yeah.
Like that, and it spans the entire film right to the end,
Yeah.
where spoiler alert, he gets the Twinkie.
I like that. In,
Oh, because they have an expiration date, don't they? And that's why he's like, we need to go.
But that's why he wants to go to the fun fair with them, is because
Yeah.
he's like, there might be Twinkies there.
I don't think a Twinkie would expire. It's just pure sugar.
I've never
I think
eaten
that
a
would,
Twinkie.
A friend of mine, actually Tristan, who I mentioned at the start of the podcast,
Yeah.
he ate a Twinkie. His sister brought him one back from the States. He ate one and it gave him a rash.
Oh wow!
Yeah, like who knows what's
Maybe
in those
our American Spotify lister can
things. SoundCloud,
SoundCloud, can send us some Twinkies over
Yeah.
to try on.
Oh, that'd be good.
or maybe we can do this episode sponsored by Twinkie. I like that in zombie movies that, you know, when it's kind of like real world things spur people on, you know,
Yeah.
like getting a Twinkie, or at the start of Dawn of the Dead, those guys, like when they're escaping, they're like, what about cigarettes? You know, they're like concerned about, which
Yeah.
looking back at it, you know, looking at the screen, like obviously who cares about getting cigarettes? But in the moment,
You probably,
you probably would, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, I'd
If
probably
you-
want a cigarette in that
Yeah.
situation.
Shout out for Chill Murray as well, because he's in Zombieland.
Yeah, that's a
that was
great
the
cameo.
link between the new film that's coming out, The Dead Don't Die, and Zombieland. Is
Nailed it.
Chill Murray.
I like. There's a few. Obviously, there's with any genre, there's a lot of tropes that go around with zombie films. There's a few zombie films that have come out recently, or not so recently, that have a completely different look at the way zombies are normally portrayed. Have you ever heard of a film called Girl with All the Gifts?
No.
It's by Cole McCarthy. Well, Cole McCarthy directed it. It's a really interesting premise because it's basically set around this encampment where they it's the military and there's doctors and stuff, because they've basically got a group of children that they were their parents were pregnant when they got bit and they were still born, so they're like second generation zombies.
Are they half and half?
They're half and half, so they kind of like they have they're normal people, but then if you get like too close to them, they'll like instantly turn into like zombie mode. And it's all centered around basically like their teacher and the relationship between like one of the young half zombie girls and her, and the government and the doctors are trying to like use these kids to find a cure, but like the teacher sees like the humanity in these kids and stuff, and
That's an interesting angle.
It's completely different to a lot of other.
I mean, that's almost taking Dawn of the Dead, which was, I don't know if you've seen the scene in that where the woman gives birth to a zombie baby.
No, I haven't seen
It's
that.
so stupid. But
Wait, is she a zombie?
no, I think maybe she gets bit. I can't
Is
remember.
this on the remake?
Yeah, the remake.
Yeah.
Sorry, the 2008 version.
Who was
And
that by?
Zack Snyder did it, didn't he?
Was that Zack Snyder?
I think so, yeah.
Really?
so yeah, she dies. She dies after childbirth, but she gives birth to a zombie baby, which is like
Yeah.
all kind of green and like, and it's like.
Have you seen Brain Dead by Peter Jackson, who did The Lord of the Rings?
No.
That's one of his earliest ones, and there's a zombie baby in that. It's like proper B movie and gore everywhere. There's I mean, I'll ruin it because no one will watch it, but there's a bit where a guy picks up a lawnmower and tilts it up so the blade is like facing, what would be like your face and stomach, and just like mows down all these zombies. There's just like guts and everywhere. But I think it starts with the zombie baby, and this woman keeps looking after it and like pushing it round in a pram and takes it to
God.
the park, and that's how the infection starts.
Wow.
Really weird film.
What a weapon to use.
Yeah.
Me and Ale always have a debate about what weapons would be effective in a zombie world, because I claim, I think you'll agree with me, that a skateboard is a great weapon because it's transport and it's a weapon.
Yes. I'd agree with that, but
What do you mean? Why are you agreeing with him?
because it's the transport thing, not as a weapon, it's good enough, I would say, to
How are
like
you going to use it as a weapon?
swing it.
Right, you've
The
got
metal-
2 swings. and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
snapping in half.
That's exactly.
No, you don't hit it with the wood bit.
You hit it with the trucks, the metal bit.
That's still you're gonna
Yeah,
miss. You're gonna swing
Yeah,
and
I
miss.
don't think.
Maybe
It,
you would swing in a miss.
Well, I wouldn't use a bloody skateboard, would I?
I think it would be good for like push them and then skate away. I don't think it would be like as effective.
Put it in your back.
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah. Here are my choices. Jeep, 50 cal. Idiots.
Jeep's going to run out of gas, mate, and you don't know how to drive as well.
I can work it out. It's an apocalypse. It's not like there are going to be careless drivers on the... Well, there are going to be careless drivers
Yeah.
on the road, probably.
I think baseball bat stands up pretty good.
Baseball bat.
I think, again, you only get a couple of swings with that before it snaps.
A metal one.
I went to Larry's
Metal
house.
one, maybe, yeah.
And we were out in the garden because they were like building their house, and they had a crowbar, which I've never seen.
Ooh,
I've never seen a
yeah.
real crowbar in my life, and I picked it
Yeah,
up.
they're heavy.
It's weighty.
Crowbar's
Yeah,
nice.
but I think that would.
And also, if you need to get in somewhere,
True.
You want something rangy that you can push away with, but also...
Yeah, I think crowbar's up there, but it's very heavy. I think you'd only get a few swings in it.
Pitchfork?
no, too
No.
pointy.
Yeah.
Too pointy?
You don't want to get them stuck on the
Yeah.
end, do you?
that's true.
You want a blunt object that's quick to swing.
Are we talking we're excluding guns from this?
Yeah.
But
because
also,
would you pick a gun?
I
Like-
wouldn't, because I know I'm not a good shot with a gun, because I've
And you'd run out
never.
of ammo.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's one going, I'd probably just keep it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Because
I mean,
it-
where
'cause-
are we going to find a gun? This isn't America.
Oh.
Just alienating our one listener there.
Got him. Take that.
Maybe no. I don't know. It's a tough one in terms of what weapon I'd go for. Maybe just like a bat with some nails in it, like the old classic.
A bat with some nails.
All reliable.
How do you put
trusty.
How do you put nails in it though?
Knock them in with a hammer.
Upside down.
Or put the
Just use the hammer.
Yeah. No, not a hammer.
I mean, maybe that wouldn't work. Maybe that's to your point, getting stuck in the
head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baseball bat is a good
I
shout.
think baseball bat.
No, I've got a hockey stick.
We've got American football. If that helps.
That would be so
Hockey sticks would be good actually. They've got a little bit of a hook on the end.
Yeah, that's
and they're
true.
made of fiberglass.
They've got a hook on the end. What are you going to use the hook for? Bring them closer.
Yeah. Bah. I think we all know, Joe, the most dangerous weapon in this room is my right hook.
No.
I just had a thought about who I'd want to be with if I could pick one person.
We could move on to that.
Should we go on to it now? Just
Yeah,
I've got
alright.
one. Okay, so if I could be with any, wait, can they be a character in a movie? Actually, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I'll say yeah.
I would go with Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone.
One, you'd hole yourself up in a house.
Yeah,
and
and
just
just
booby
booby
trap
trap.
it. Nice.
Exactly. That's who I'm going with.
That's
Okay.
a really creative and actually a good choice. I like it.
Well, when he said iron, I just instantly pictured, when that iron swings him in the face. I can't remember which one it's on. I mean, that would probably
I think
do you brain
Mythbusters
damage.
had a look at all the traps and stuff and was like, yeah, that
They'd be
person would
dead.
definitely be dead.
Like the paint cans and stuff, they would be.
Yeah,
yeah,
paint
the
can
full
to the
paint
head.
can.
Was
That's
it a full paint can?
Yeah.
Don't they fall through the floor into like the basement as well at some point?
yeah.
That kid's a psychopath.
No, he's just defending himself.
who would you choose, Arlo?
It's a tough one. I hadn't really considered until Andrew led onto it. I would want someone. It's tough because you can opt for like an absolute psycho, but then you've got to cohabit with them. Like if you're traveling, if you're on the road, for example, rather than hold up somewhere, or even if you hold up somewhere, you've got to be able to get along with this person. So
So like my initial thought was John Wick, but would you want to have Christmas dinner with John Wick?
I don't think there's going to be Christmas dinner in a post-apocalyptic world.
Of course there is. Like you got to have some downtime as well.
Right. Okay. I was more thinking, where are you going to get turkey from? I don't know. I would want someone as intelligent as they were physically threatening. Maybe Barack.
Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Are you
Really?
Why not? Man can
I
make
mean-
threes. Pretty intelligent guy. So
No, that's
some would say.
That's such a weird decision.
Why?
Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Why?
He's like 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah.
Strong, like physically.
Okay.
Physical specimen.
Yeah.
Intelligent guy.
Yep.
Knows America quite well. So if we're in America,
You're not in America. In fact, he's going to be like out of his depth. in the
or
UK.
maybe we could just have maybe Sylvester Stallone.
What, 72-year-old Sylvester Stallone?
Hey, you bit him. Why are you trying biting me now?
Those are some terrible shouts, mate.
Okay. Well, what about the Mountain out of Game of
No,
Thrones?
mate.
Hafthor Bjornsson.
I've got a good one. Bear Grylls.
Yes. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, all you're going to achieve with Bear Grylls is drinking your own piss. He doesn't know anything.
Nah, but like
You'd survive.
you would survive. The first thing
I'd
you'd have
rather
to do,
Ray Mears than Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls is like a B-rate Ray Mears.
Yeah. I mean,
You'd have to get out of London, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's all
Definitely.
Yeah, but-
kicked off.
Definitely.
Go onto water, definitely
water.
Thames.
Yeah, onto the boat.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Or just live on the Thames. We'd have no food.
No.
We could fish.
Yeah. Yeah. Went out to sea, you could fish. You'd be fine. Grow some potatoes.
Get Dave Guy
Yeah.
around.
Go pick up Dave Guy in Cornwall.
Grow some chilies on the boat. Actually,
Are you going to keep that phone call in the
Yeah,
podcast?
can I
definitely.
change I'm changing my answer. My go-to in a zombie apocalypse, my partner would be Andrew Slay because he's such a horticulturalist. He would just sort us right out.
Oh wow.
I went in real life. There's a guy I know called Rick Pender. Yeah, ex-marine. Just
Is he
kind
a
of
beast,
like
is he?
yeah, kind of like a Bear Grylls type.
I mean, the
person.
Sillies would be a very good place to be in a zombie apocalypse.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I was
I
thinking
would
about
probably go there.
maybe John Jones.
John Bones Jones.
Who's that?
He's a UFC fighter, but he is a absolute animal.
Would they be annoying to be around though?
You'd have some
yeah.
good times with John Bones Jones.
He'd go on about Jesus quite a lot. I'm
but he
not really-
does love like a cocaine sesh.
Yeah, he's unreliable.
Yeah.
But I mean, if anything, if cinema has taught us anything, cocaine fuels a pretty strong zombie killing rampage.
What?
I mean, I can't think of any film that's in, but so I'm actually just talking absolute breeze.
Are you making up another film again?
But
Is this one also going to start?
Imagine, well, okay, here's an idea because it's not in a film. Why doesn't someone do like a drug-fueled zombie film where people just go around smashing a load of cocaine and beating in zombies?
They did a drug-fueled vampire film in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Imagine doing a line and then, not that any of us do lines on this podcast. Imagine doing a line and then attacking a load of zombies.
Yeah.
How visceral would that be? You could do that from you could do lots of different camera angles. You could, it'd just be absolute chaos.
Yeah, it would be chaos.
You could do it have you ever seen that Mitchell and Webb look?
No.
You know Sir Digby Chicken Caesar?
I have no idea what he's talking about now.
Basically, they do this camera angle where they have the camera attached to the front of his hat. So when he's running away, it's like the camera's moving all over the place with him. Imagine you could basically do that camera angle on someone who'd done a load of cocaine just smashing in zombies. So it's focused on them rather than.
I don't see the need for the drugs, but
Why? Because
but I can understand your point of view of a first-person zombie film could be quite cool.
like a VR zombie film.
No, because remember they tried that in. They sometimes try that in video game movies to do the whole first-person thing, and it
Doesn't work.
doesn't work. No.
There was I think it was a GoFundMe and inspired mini movie that was all done with a GoPro attached to this parkour guy's head, and there was
There was a parkour zombie video game, wasn't there?
Was there?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah. Well, I mean, the zombie culture in itself has given rise to so many different things. So gaming, it's huge.
Well, speaking of that, what do you guys make of Resident Evil?
The film or the game? The game.
The first two video games are amazing.
I still have nightmares of this one bit in the first game where you walk through and you're going down this little corridor.
Oh yeah.
And then out of nowhere, a liquor drops from the roof right in front of you. And I remember playing that around Martin Guy's house when we were growing up, and I'd never been so scared in my life.
Those video games are scary.
Well, this is what I wanted to ask as well. I don't know if you're familiar with Outlast.
No.
Which is it started off as an independent PC game. They've now made a second one, but there's a whole backstory to how the zombies come about in that, and it's terrifying. It was really acclaimed when it came out as a video game, and loads of YouTubers played through it, etc. It was huge news. I'm just wondering how long it is until we get a film version of that.
Because that's more based on
experimentation.
Is it scavenging as well? You got to build up it's multiplayer, isn't it?
No. It's a single player story.
What game?
Again, combining religious elements with scientific experimentation.
Really?
Yeah.
I think with the Resident Evil games and movie, the first Resident Evil movie is okay, but why didn't they stick to the? So in the first game, it's the house. The second game, it's a police station. I don't know why they did not align with those two things, because that setting is way better than those garbage
all
movies.
I remember from the first film is when they're in that that room where the lasers are coming at them, and they have to duck and weave and dodge those lasers, and then at the end, the laser just forms a mesh and just splits this person into little cubes essentially.
I wish that happened in the Thomas Crown Affair, if you've seen that movie.
Oh, is that
Pierce Brosnan?
Yeah, is that a spy thriller? Or is that
He's trying to steal the, I don't know why we're talking about this.
He's trying to steal a diamond.
Yeah, he's trying to steal a diamond. It's terrible. It's really bad.
No,
that happens in
laser
Ocean's
jumping.
12 as well.
Oh, yeah.
When, Is it Antonio Banderas in Ocean's 12?
No.
No, it's not.
No, it's
What's his name?
that guy. Yeah.
He does like a load of jumps and leaps through a laser field, and it's just like, oh, God.
Yeah, that is a Hollywood trope if ever I've seen one.
Do you think they'll make a movie out of the? What's it called? Outlast.
I just think in this era of commercial, I don't know, the commercial nature of this like film era and how much people just want a payday. Like, it seems like a natural progression for that video game franchise, and especially like now we're making films out of Angry Birds, which was a video game, like the Emoji Movie. Do you know what I mean?
That was one
like,
of the trailers last week.
We did forget that trailer,
and it looked awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like you could actually do a really nice job with Outlast as a film. Like it could, it's a terrifying video game, so it could it could work really well. And like I say, there's enough lore there to write a backstory.
I think you definitely, like we said earlier, lore is a huge part of it. Like,
and actually, the whole element of that, sorry to interrupt, is is kind of the Blair Witch nature as well. So you do a load of the game through a video camera. So basically, in like areas of the map that are too dark to see, you have to put on the infrared on the video camera to see where you're going. So they could play on that as well.
Yeah.
I'm actually just going to go and do a crowdfunder right now. To make this
write a script.
Yeah.
Any more?
No, I can't think of any others.
Well, we didn't really talk that much about 28 Days Later. Because didn't you say they're doing a third?
I think so.
The second one was really bad.
Yeah, it was really bad.
So the bit I love in the first one, 28 Days Later. Wait, and then 28 weeks later. I guess is the bit in London on. It's a London Bridge, isn't it? Or is it?
No, it's Westminster Bridge.
Westminster Bridge, isn't it?
Yeah, where it's just empty.
Yeah, it's just empty. And they had to film that at like 6 o'clock in the morning, or actually way earlier than that, I assume.
Yeah, like 4 a.m. in the summer, I would imagine.
Definitely.
Like just as the sun comes up.
But it's really well shot.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think that whole movie, that's more like the antagonist rather than the zombies. It's like the military in that.
Yeah,
absolutely. So than it just happens to be in this zombie world, and that works quite a lot in zombie movies. Where the bad guy's like the corporation or the government or the military.
Yeah.
Same in like Train to Busan, the kind of main bad guy. Although there's zombies, it's that.
We've not really spoken about societal breakdown, have we?
No.
In terms of after the event, as it would be in any of the films, there is this move towards people turning on one another. Like you say, the military, that would be a really obvious thing for them to do because they have all the weapons, they have all the power, they have the manpower.
Yep.
They could just club together, hole up somewhere, or they could just start running society in a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
Tyrannically so.
So I guess if that's all we've got, would you survive? Now, before we do this,
we given the rules for the zombies?
Yeah, we should establish what kind of zombies we're dealing with.
Before we establish that, actually no, we'll save it. You know, there's like certain classic deaths that can happen to you too. If there's any you can bear in mind, but rules.
Classic deaths.
Well, you know, like there's the guy, you know, that will take the escape car for himself and try and start it up.
Right.
But there's a zombie in the back. There's the there's the person that, you know, like gets bitten and tries to hide it secretly.
Yeah.
You know, there's what's another one? Someone that like makes a group decision without everyone else, and it just goes completely wrong. I'm trying to think of other ones, like being mauled by loads of them, just like a big pile on.
There is sacrificing yourself.
Yeah,
there is a big kind of coward archetype in those films. As well, isn't there?
But they normally survive.
They do, yeah. Yeah, but then they come to some kind of redemptive arc where they like finally pick up a weapon and save one of the protagonists or main characters.
Yeah. So what are our rules going to be in our zombie world?
Slow zombies?
I think they have to be because I don't think you're surviving if they're rage.
Yeah.
They'd be too quick. They wouldn't get tired, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what other rules are there.
Any like night and day stuff?
Nah.
We spoke about?
Slower at night? I know. Well,
are we assuming that we, like in say 28 Days Later and the start of The Walking Dead, we wake up in a hospital, like, and it's
all three of us next to each other.
we're filming the podcast. Something bad happens. We will get injured and in a coma, we wake up 3 weeks later, and society is broken down, and there's hordes of slow zombies, and you've got to, survive that.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair enough. So what are we doing? We're saying who would survive.
Yeah.
Or if we would.
Or would. Yeah.
I don't think I would survive. I think I'd probably do all right for a bit, but I think I'd probably make some big slip up and just get killed.
I think Arlo would grab the closest jeep in the next to the ambulance and drive it into a freaking wall within 10 seconds and die.
See,
because again, he doesn't know how to drive.
This is the discussion that's come up many a times within our friendship group. And Joe, for some reason, is obsessed with the idea that I would be the first to die because he thinks I'm this brash, like running all guns blazing, just like trying to kill as many zombies as possible. Absolutely not. I am far more intelligent than that. And I think I would do all right. I don't think I would. I think I'd give myself 12 weeks.
12 weeks?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, like Andrew said, I think I'd just get, like, there would be some kind of scenario where there would be too many or I'd get cornered.
Yeah.
Are you a runner, or would you try and find a base?
I would, well, if we were in London, I would, like we say, get a boat. I would probably head to somewhere rural. Probably,
Yeah.
I mean, the Scilly Isles, if I had enough fuel or whatever.
I would try and find somewhere high up.
So you got the...
Yeah.
Because you can filter zombies into a
Oh,
choke.
good, Anakin.
I have the higher ground. and you can filter all of them into a choke point. So you could barricade the
You
stairs.
really enjoyed that, didn't you?
Just because I just instantly saw the scene where he's like lost all his limbs and he's just like, I hate you. It's so bad. Sorry.
No, I was going to say you can barricade the stairs and filter them all into a choke point so you can deal with them effectively. And it would take them a long time to walk up that many flights of stairs. And zombies don't know how to use lifts or elevators. Last time
Imagine that.
Last
We're
time
on
I
the 16th
checked.
floor up here. They finally get up and we go, see you later.
So yeah, I think I'd try and find like some kind of high rise, maybe like an office. As well.
This
Really?
this would be a pretty good place to be honest.
The only issue
Yeah.
you have is finding getting out and getting supplies.
Do you know, going back to an office, there's a bit on Dawn of the Dead at the start. You know, it starts in is it a TV centre or a radio station? And this one guy at the start goes like, everyone, they're going to pay us triple time. We're staying on air. And everyone's like cheering and whooping. It's like, obviously you wouldn't do that. Like, you know this outbreak's happening. You would get the hell out of there. Money does not matter right now. Like, woo,
I think you're right. I think it is a news station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
And because there's a helicopter on the roof, isn't there?
Yeah, and they take it.
Yeah.
I'd go remote, rural, grow my own veg.
You want this to happen just so you can grow your own veg.
I don't know why Andrew Slade bothers with a film podcast. Why he doesn't just go off and start like a...
He wakes up in the hospital and goes, oh no, there's been a zombie apocalypse. to the seed store.
I like it that you don't know enough about it. You call it a seed store.
No.
I was trying to think, where do you buy seeds?
Hang on, I'm about to end this man's whole career. I tell you where he'd go. He'd be like, better get to Norway, to the International Seed Bank.
Nice.
And then he'd just live in there and have the best time.
I would not.
Is it Norway?
I'm pretty sure it's in Norway.
I thought it was Iceland.
Don't think so.
What about you, Joe? What would you do? Would you go rural? Would you go to the high ground?
It's difficult, isn't it? I think I would want to go rural, but I'd probably be too scared to leave my apartment.
The Svalbard Global Seed Bank is a secure seed bank on the Norwegian island of Spitsbergen. So there you go.
I mean, it would be a good place to go. Norway's too far.
It's remote, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, you could survive in an apartment like this for quite some time, I imagine.
Do you know where would be a good spot too? An airport would probably be quite good. Once it cleared out.
I could probably fly a plane.
No. I'm scared of flying, aren't I? As said in previous podcasts.
Did you?
Yeah, in the X-Men one.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So we'd all die basically. How long do you reckon you'd last?
Well,
Would you-
I'd probably end up having to find Gian, wouldn't I? And then like,
Mate, I'm not being funny. She's not surviving
she's
past
not
like
surviving
24
at
hours.
all. She is so weak. I don't think she'd even be able to swing a bat.
She was really good at bowling that time.
She beat Arlo at bowling, yeah.
Did she?
Yeah,
No,
on
she
my
didn't.
birthday.
No, she didn't.
Oh, sore spot.
Well, that never happened.
No, Gian would be my demise.
Who won that? Did you win that?
I won, yeah.
What, you let him? 'Cause it was
It
his birthday.
was his birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gian would be my demise, I think.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
this is what I was going to say. Would you make a last-ditch attempt to save family and friends, or would you just
I'd definitely try and
kind of be like,
contact them.
that's it?
I'm done.
Yeah.
Because
See you
I don't know,
later.
because obviously, like, my parents live, I don't know, like a 30-minute train journey from where I do.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, like,
See,
I don't know
my-
if you make that move.
Yeah.
I don't know if you...
My mum's
Sorry,
like
Dad.
out there. He's gonna unfollow us now. Well, my mum's out the country half the year, so
Hopefully
it
she
would
doesn't go to
depend.
Korea.
Yeah.
For
So
the zombies.
I think I would try and make contact with certain people, and
I'd
but
definitely try
would-
and make contact,
Yeah,
but-
for sure. If there was people in London that I could save, that I know and cared about, I would give it a go.
Equally, do you have a friend where you would call them, like, if I get with them now, not get
Yeah.
with them, that would be irresponsible.
As soon as a zombie breaks out, you're thinking, right, which of my friends can I hook up with?
Well, I mean, people are going to be like, well, I'm going to die anyway.
We're not voting on that.
not-
No way.
not-
No way.
No, but would there be a friend in your contact list who you call up, like, they're
Yeah.
pretty violent and they would be good in this situation? I'm gonna see where they are and try and team up.
Rick Pender, who I said earlier.
Barack
Pender.
Obama.
Mates, are you? He's in your contact list.
I still think that was such a rogue decision from you earlier.
I still don't think that's rogue.
I see the logic behind it.
I don't.
He's an intelligent man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of intelligent men.
Like, name 3.
Us three.
So you're calling me, despite the fact you said I would be dead straight away and drive a jeep into a wall. You're going into your contact list and going, yep, Arlo, where are you? I'd be like, just in the jeep, mate. Be there in 5.
That brings us back to the bit in Shaun of the Dead where like he's Thingy's character.
Nick Frost.
Nick Frost's character gets to drive the Jag for the first time. He's just doing like handbrake turns and stuff.
I mean, so far we're coming up with a great movie. We've got Barack Obama cameo in it. Car
imagine,
chases.
though. Imagine. No, that'd be a great scene. Barack Obama just takes it to like 50 zombies. But
Are we on one final point? Are we seeing the end of zombie films for a while now? Do you think? Like,
No.
this new one's coming out. Yeah, but
I think it's here to stay.
you reckon?
Yeah, as a genre, definitely. Well, they're doing the Walking Dead movie, aren't they? They're
doing
transitioning
Walking Dead,
that.
Yeah. They got, like I said earlier, they got Peninsula coming out.
Yeah, and there are still so many different directions you can take it in, like
Yeah.
people haven't explored.
I think zombie movies seem to be quite diverse. That the zombies aren't, they just kind of make for setting or stakes. Really, it's not like, I don't know, say vampires where it has to be a fight. Like you can just seem to be able to do. Well, I guess vampires you can. Like you can do other things with zombies.
Yeah.
In a movie that doesn't necessarily just make it a runaway type movie. You can do lots of things. So I think they're here to stay.
I quite like the idea
And
of
apparently we've got production on World War Z 2 as well, so you'll be happy about that.
Wait till you see his hair.
World War Z 2. Wow.
I reckon he'll
What
go
was his hair
man
in
bun.
the first film?
Look
It's
up a
quite
picture
long.
of him.
It's like
It
shoulder
was
length.
just long.
Yeah.
Look up a
You
picture
used
of
to
it.
have long hair, I
Yeah,
remember.
but I didn't grow it specifically for a movie role.
Didn't you?
I think that's just. I don't think he grew it for World War Z, did he?
He was probably
I
just
feel
dating
like he
a
did.
woman with long hair at the time.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, exactly.
Great. I think that about does it.
Yeah, I think that's about
Unless you want to take another phone call.
No, I switched it off. Yep. We are on Twitter
At Slate 6.
at SyncSlate6 on Instagram.
Instagram, yep.
SyncSlate6 on Spotify, YouTube, Acast, SoundCloud.
Still no Apple.
No, we're still under review from Apple. I resent it.
Oh,
But this is a Christian podcast. What could they be reviewing? we barely do any of the swears.
Yeah, no swears from us. Yeah, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
And next week we're gonna do. Are we gonna do Far From Home and the future of the Marvel universe? Does
Well,
that tie in? Are we thinking
yeah, I
that?
think
Yeah, I think that's the plan. Yeah, is because
Yeah.
it comes out next week, doesn't it? I know you two are keen to see it, so
Yeah.
I'll swallow my pride and go and see it. Why not? I'm
Yes.
going specifically for Jake Gyllenhaal, not Tom Holland.
Yeah, and if you could like or subscribe or whatever, it really help us out. And if anyone's got like any suggestions for anything we can do or any questions or gardening advice, direct message us, email, whatever. Just find us somehow, and yeah, that'd be nice to hear from people listening.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Right.
Cheers.
All right,
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.